Hi there, my name is John Holden. I graduated from the University of Connecticut in 1992 with a bachelor's degree in ornamental horticulture. In 1993, I started Land Designs Unlimited. I design, install, and maintain landscapes for homeowners in Upper Fairfield County, Connecticut. Today, I'd like to share my passion with you. How you doing today, folks? Today I'd like to talk to you a little bit about how to re-mulch your gardens. And before I get started, I just want to mention that I'm going to leave my hat on today. I usually try to take the hat off. It makes me look a little more mature. I don't look like a 20-year-old talking about this stuff, but with the sun the way it is today, if I was going to leave my hat on, I would basically have sunburn and a peeling hit in about an hour. And the other benefit is they say that all you bald guys out there like me, being bald is a sign of high testosterone, so if you got it, flaunt it. But anyways, what I'd like to do today is just talk to you a little bit about how to re-mulch your gardens. And there's two different ways of mulching in my book. There's mulching a new garden, where you want to go through the garden and put down a good 2 to 3 inch layer over the entire garden. And I've got a separate video for that, and I'll leave a link over here to that video. And then there's re-mulching gardens. And when you're re-mulching gardens, you're not really trying to apply a super deep layer. You just want to put down enough mulch that the gardens are going to look nice. It's going to be deep enough to keep the weeds out or inhibit the growth of weeds and keep the moisture in. So before we get started, I want to mention that before you re-mulch gardens, hopefully you've already gone through your gardens and done a few things. And the first thing I hope you've done is go through and take your rake and clean up any leaves that are in the garden. Get any leaves, sticks, debris out of those gardens. The next thing I hope you do before you re-mulch your gardens is go through with a hoe or your hands or a weeding knife and take care of any weeds in the gardens. Go ahead and get them out of there. Once you finish weeding your gardens, I hope you'll take your edger, and I've got some great videos about edging. Take your edger out, cut a nice fresh edge so that mulch is going to have really nice contrast against the grass. And then the final thing I hope you do before you re-mulch your gardens is to go ahead and take a soil cultivator or a garden weasel like this guy here. You could take a metal rake. You could even use a shovel if you wanted to. And you really want to cultivate your mulch before applying more. And that's going to lead me to a discussion about the 3 musts of mulching. There's 3 very important things when you're mulching, and I've got a separate video. I'm going to put a link to it over here. But whenever you're mulching, the 3 musts are: you must keep your mulch under 3 inches deep. You must cultivate your mulch before applying new mulch, and you must avoid touching the base of trees and shrubs when mulching. And again, there's a great video. I'll put it right here. It's going to talk a little bit more about that. So now that we're ready to go ahead and re-mulch our gardens, how do you do that? And here's another big difference between mulching gardens for the first time and re-mulching gardens. If I'm mulching gardens for the first time, I will go ahead and dump wheelbarrows of mulch, and then I'll take this tool right here, this pitchfork, and use this pitchfork to go ahead and spread the mulch. I'll just kind of push it around. But because we're re-mulching, we really don't want to add that much mulch. We're adding just enough to basically cover what's there and bring the depth up to about 2 inches. And with mulching, I'd rather you see 2.5 inches deep than 3. That's the ideal range. This is not one of those cases where more is better. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave our mulch in the wheelbarrow. And if you don't have a pitchfork like this, and you're going to have 5 yards, 10 yards, 15 yards delivered to your house, it's a great tool to have. It really makes it very easy to shovel out of the pile and put it in the wheelbarrow. And when you're buying your pitchfork, they make really big ones, which are great if you can bench press like 200 pounds, if you're a pretty stocky guy. But if you're what I would consider the average homeowner, this is a great tool. It's good for scooping mulch out of the pile. This is great for cleaning up brush in the yard. It's really a nice all-purpose tool for you. So you've got your mulch delivered, you've got your mulch in the wheelbarrow, and what you're going to actually do when it comes time to spread the mulch is just leave the mulch in the wheelbarrow and scoop it right out. And I like to use either a short-handled shovel like this guy here, or a short-handled pitchfork like we have down there. That's my ideal tool to mulch. Because it's short-handled, you can kind of move it around easier. It's much more convenient to scoop out of the wheelbarrow. And what I'm going to do is I am just going to work my way through the gardens and spread, shake some off with the shovel. Now that we're ready to go ahead and start spreading the mulch, all you want to do is, bring your wheelbarrow close to the gardens, or if you can find a way to get it to the back of the garden, if you're not going to trample any plants, wheel that wheelbarrow into the back, and that way you'll just save yourself a lot of effort. If you've got to go through, your prized peonies or something, definitely take the extra time to go, and walk a few steps. But there's absolutely nothing wrong, don't do it all the time, but there's nothing wrong with taking your wheelbarrow through the back of a landscape bed like this. And what you're basically going to do is just go ahead and scoop that mulch right out of the wheelbarrow, and then you're just going to kind of, flick it. And it takes a little while to get it down, but you're just going to, flick that mulch and spread it around the base of the plants. And, the mulch I just threw, you can see I went right up to the edge of the plants, but there's still plenty of room underneath there where there's no mulch. And that's okay, because we're going to be doing more harm than good if we start trying to dump mulch underneath the plants. Now today I'm spreading hemlock mulch, and this is pretty much my go-to mulch. It's pure hemlock bark. And if you want to see a great video about choosing the right mulch, I will put a link to that right here. But for most jobs, I'll use this pure hemlock bark. It's bark because it has a nice deep brown color. It spreads very nicely. It's very finely ground, so it doesn't look chunky. And it really holds its color nice. So, if you've got a mulch supplier in the area, definitely take a look at the pure hemlock bark. But we're just going to basically work our way through the garden and, just put enough mulch on top of what is there to basically, cover the old mulch and, add maybe an inch or so. The key is we want to keep our mulch under 2.5 to 3 inches or so. That's as deep as we want to see. And you'd be amazed how quickly it goes, once you get in the rhythm of things. Re-mulching the garden. Let me move the camera and I'll show you how I do where there's perennials. Okay, now I'm around the back of the house and there's some perennials here, and I'd like to show you how I go about mulching around perennials. But before I do, I just want to show you one other way to spread mulch. Just because I use the shovel and I kind of throw it, that doesn't mean you have to do it that way. The other thing you can do is don't be afraid to just put some on the shovel and then just kind of shake it off through the garden. It's going to take a little bit longer, but it's going to do the job just as well. And if you don't have the same muscles that I have, it's definitely easier to do it this way. You can kind of hold that shovel than to try to fling that mulch all over the garden. I also like to shake the mulch off like that. If I've got a ground cover of pachysandra or vinca, I'll go through and I'll shake the mulch off very lightly over the top of the ground cover. Not too deep, and then just either take a rake and kind of brush the mulch in, or take my leaf blower and just give it a quick blow there. So around these perennials, what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically do the same type of mulching. I'm just going to scoop up the mulch and then spread it around the base here. This is penstemon, and pretty much the same idea. I don't mind if the mulch, touches the base of the perennials, but I don't want it to be super heavy. I don't want my shovel to end up being a little deeper and have 4 inches of mulch resting against the base of the perennials. I'm going to say that I'm not quite as finicky with the perennials, because they are perennials and they're used to growing in the soil. If they spread out and grow into the mulch, that's okay. But around the base of trees and shrubs, I'm still very careful about you know, not having that mulch brush up against the base of the trees and shrubs. And you know, it's again, just take your time. You know, there's no need to be in a rush. I find that when I actually don't rush, I work quicker than when I do rush. And you would be amazed at how quickly mulching can go. So that's pretty much how I would go ahead and mulch around the base of perennials. You know, you don't have to be quite as finicky. If a little bit of mulch touches the perennials, it's okay. But just please, you know, don't dump mulch on the perennials either. It's not good for them. Now, if you've got a tree, a single stem tree in your landscape like this one here, you have to remember the 3 musts of mulching. Mulch must not touch the trunk of trees and shrubs. So what you're going to do here is you're going to just apply your mulch, but leave, you know, a 6 to 12 inch gap around the base of the tree. And that is infinitely better than what's known as volcano mulching, where people end up putting, you know, this mound of mulch around the base of the tree. And if I touch the tree with a little bit of mulch, it's okay. It's almost like leaf litter, you know. I try to taper down that last 6 inches to a foot. It's not so much that I'm trying to completely not mulch that area, but I just don't want that mulch to get deeper. So the trees are going to have a little bit of space there. They're not going to get suffocated by the mulch. And then you can just work your way right around the tree. Now, if you get a little bit too much mulch by the tree, don't be afraid to just, you know, kneel down and just brush it away a little bit. It's really that easy. And that's what a properly mulched tree is supposed to look like. Let me zoom in for you. If you can mulch a tree and have it look like this, you are so far ahead of the game. It's going to make a huge difference for your landscape. Your trees are going to be healthier, they're going to live longer, and you're just really doing a great thing for your landscape. When you're mulching the edge of your gardens, there's 2 different ways you can go. You can put the mulch at the same height as the grass, or you can basically, you know, leave the mulch the same depth all the way, and you may end up with like a 1 or 2 inch depression or gap at the edge of the bed there. And that depression is nice if you're the type of person who's going to take the weed whacker and run around the edge of your gardens maybe once a month. It does a really nice job leaving some definition between, you know, the edge of the beds and the lawn. But if you're not going to use the weed whacker to cut the edge of the beds, and I'm going to have to make a video showing you how to do that, I would recommend you just, you know, use the same level as the grass. Just fill that trench at the edge of your beds to the same level as the grass. So basically all you're going to do at the edge then is just, you know, scoop that mulch off and just do the same thing. You can kind of see, you know, once you get the trick, you can just kind of throw it along the edge and it'll just fill in that trench. Well, folks, we've gone ahead and finished mulching this property, and all that's left to do now is I'm just going to take the backpack blower, put it on, keep the RPMs at a slower speed, and just go ahead and blow off the edge of the gardens. Any mulch I might have spilled on some plants, I'll touch them with the blower, and then any stepping stones, or some stepping stones as well, I'll go ahead and clean those up too. Now it goes a little bit quicker for me because I can put the mulch on the truck and just scoop it right off the truck. So it's, you know, the saying we use is move it once. You know, I basically just push it into the wheelbarrow and spread it. I don't have to pick it up, put it in the wheelbarrow, and then move it again. If you like the video, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. And also, if you like the video, please just go ahead and click that little like button down below. If you have any questions, please visit my blog at landdesigns.com. Thank you very much for watching today, folks, and I hope I helped you out to mulch your gardens. Take care.